Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our monthly meeting of the Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals. And as is our custom at this time, I'm going to ask Officer Ott if he would step forward. Officer Ott is here to represent all the first responders in Cobb County. And as our custom, if you all please rise, he will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Officer Ott. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are here for the first time, let me give you a little insight on how we're going to conduct the meeting. The first thing we will concern ourselves with is the consent agenda. These are applications that not only this board has reviewed, but our professional and our engineering staff have also reviewed. To our knowledge, there's no known opposition to any of these particular cases. So as we go forward, our process will be Mr. John Peterson, our head zoning administrator, will read these into the record, and as he does, the applicant, he or she, will identify themselves by raising their hand. Likewise, as Mr. Peterson continues, if there's anybody here in opposition to any of these particular cases, if they would identify themselves by raising their hand, we will pull that particular case and hear it in its regular numeric order. Once we complete that, we have some regular business to take care of. Again, the procedure will remain the same, with the exception that anybody that's going to give testimony today will be called forward by Ms. Bates. Ms. Bates is our officer of the day. She will call you up. You'll be sworn in. All testimony that you will be given will be to the podium to my right. At that time, the applicant, he or she, will have a 10-minute period to make their presentation to this board. And likewise and collectively, if those in opposition, they will also have a 10-minute period to make their opposition known to this board. So if there's more than one speaker, be cognizant of the fact that you only have a 10-minute period. With that said, I'm going to ask Mr. Peterson if he has any special announcements to make. John.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a few announcements before we begin the hearing. There are two cases on today's printed agenda which have been withdrawn without prejudice and will not be heard today. First case is variance case V17, Linda Sloan. That case has been withdrawn without prejudice and will not be heard today. Additionally, variance case V20, Bass Development Corp. That case has been withdrawn without prejudice and will not be heard today, so V20 will not be heard. Additionally, there's one case on today's printed agenda which has been continued by the staff into the April 11, 2018 variance hearing. And that's variance case V16, Edward Kozo and Maureen Kozo. That case has been continued and will not be heard today. I would like to ask the people in today's audience, if you have a cell phone, please put it on silent mode. The ringing does interfere with the broadcast and presentation, so if you have a cell phone, please mute the volume. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'm ready to start the consent agenda.
All right, John, let's just jump right into it then.
Thank you. Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals variance hearing consent agenda for March 14, 2018. Variance case V12, Jennifer Wallers requests a variance to waive the front setbacks for a sign, to waive the required 62 feet from center line of an arterial right-of-way to 52.52 feet from the center line of an arterial road right-of-way, and to waive the required freestanding style sign type to allow a pylon sign as shown in the sign renderings provided in land lot 350 of the 16th district. The property is located on the west side of Canton Road, on the east side of West Chase Drive, north of Coventry Drive. Staff recommends approval of the variance. Subject to the approval is only for variance request 1 and 2 only. Variance request number 3 is withdrawn. And traffic comments and recommendations. Is the applicant present? The director show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V12? Let the record show there's no one opposed.
Okay. Could you come up here and give the clerk, no, the picture of the sign? I'm sorry. Yeah. And that would be subject to this sign going. Y'all want to see the sign?
No. Just as long as the clerk has it,
Okay,
make it part of the record.
thank you.
How about the
It meets
letters?
the,
That's it.
Okay,
Go to the next one, John.
yes, sir.
15,
Variance case V14.
14, okay.
Fade DeMassimo requested variance to waive the rear setback for an accessory structure under 650 square feet for a proposed 384 square foot detached garage from required 35 feet to 15 feet, and allow a second electrical meter on a residential lot in land lot 531 of the 19th district. The property is located on the south side of Arrowwind Drive, west of Old Lost Mountain Road. Staff recommends approval, subject to accessory building not to be used for commercial or dwelling uses. Stormwater management comments and recommendations. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V14? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V15, Michael Murphy requests a variance to allow an accessory structure, which is a proposed 504 square foot pool to be to the side of the principal structure in land lot 55 of the first district. The property is located on the southeast side of Andrea Point, south of Post Oak Street Road. Staff recommends approval, subject to water and sewer comments and recommendations. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V15? Let the record show there's no one opposed, and that completes the consent agenda, Mr. Chairman of the Board.
Okay, it's back to this board for discussions. Ms. Williams has noted, has entered into the record the picture on V12. Anything, any other comments on any of these? John, do you have a comment?
That picture for V12, is that part of the minutes, or is that just for informational purposes?
no, it's part, I'm gonna make it subject to
The pic,
the sign that he agreed to.
Okay.
His sign.
Can I ask for one thing on that?
Uh-huh.
Make it subject to that rendering, but allow the zoning division manager to approve any changes to it in case they modify it a
We
little
can
bit.
do that.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
okay, very well. Any other comments on 12, 14, or 15 from board members? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve, or I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as amended.
I'll second that.
Got a motion, got a second. No other comments, call for the vote. All in favor signify, all those opposed signify. Madam Secretary, we're going to approve the consent agenda with a 5-0 vote. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you that were here and your business with us was on the consent agenda, you're free and clear to go. Have a nice day, enjoy yourself, be careful going home. Leave quietly, and as we do, John, you go ahead and continue our business.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Variance case V18, James W. Thorpe requests a variance to waive the major side setback adjacent to Old Paper Mill Drive from required 25 feet to 12 feet in land lot 999 of the 17th district. The property is located on the southeast corner of Old Paper Mill Drive and Whittington Court, north of Stove Hill Court. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V18? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Would the applicant please come forward to be sworn in?
All
Good
right,
afternoon.
for the purpose of the record, let's start off by you give us your names one at a time.
Yes, sir. I am Dale Content with Atlanta Design and Build, and this is,
Barbara Thorpe.
Very good. Now, tell us what you want.
what we want is a waive the major side setback adjacent to Old Paper Mill Drive from the required 25 feet to 12 feet, and I have some comments. Can I approach the bench to share some pictures that y'all could look
No,
at?
if you have pictures, we have a complete AV equipment guy right here, and he'll put it all up. Everybody will be able to see it in a second, and you can explain to us what we're looking at.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Back in October, I met this couple. They had just bought the house, and they had a survey done, and from the survey, they were underneath the pretense, as I was as well, that they could build an addition on the side of the house from the survey. But when we went to apply for a building permit, found out that we had some issues that we had to deal with, and that's why we're here
Okay.
for this variance. So the fact of the matter is, this is a couple that has two sets of twins under the age of 3. and they found a backyard that was perfectly flat and fenced in. So because of their growing family and because of the needs that they needed, we had to make some alterations to the house that they knew they were going to do when they moved in. So I'd just like to explain some of the facts of it, is that there was no other place on the back of the house where we could put an addition. So the left side is where the bedroom is, and that's the side that is adjacent to Old Paper Mill Drive. The center of the house is the family room, and the right side of the house is the kitchen, and behind that's the garage, and to the right of that is the driveway and the neighbor. And there's drainage here that we didn't want to change any of the drainage and have it go to the neighbor's house. So the left side of the house is where it was proposed. Next picture. So the design does not change the front elevation of the house whatsoever. This is from the front of the house looking back, and those lines are approximately where the addition is going to be built on the side of the house. It's protruding approximately 6 feet along the black line, and it's a 2-story addition. That does not negatively impact the purposeful backyard for the family with the children. The locations of the existing living room, kitchen, and garage do not allow any type of addition or expansion on the other side of the home whatsoever. The structure will have the exact matching brick. The next picture, thank you. The structure will have the exact matching brick that we found as on the rest of the 4-sided brick home, so you will not even notice it as an addition. So this is the back of the addition. We're protruding 8 feet out the back of the house so that we were able to accomplish we're adding two bathrooms for family that visit from out of town and an au pair to watch the children. You want to do the next one? I appreciate it. So the side extension is still 12.5 feet from the property line. The curb of Old Paper Mill Drive is approximately 13 feet from the property line, which gives us an overall distance from the proposed addition to the Old Paper Mill Drive curb will be approximately 25.5 feet. That picture there, okay, there's one on the lower. This is the view of the house coming down Old Paper Drive, Old Paper Mill Drive, and the addition's on the right side. You see the size of the trees and the bushes are on that side. You can't even really see that side of the house, so it's going to be from this side, coming from this direction. The addition will not even be visible. Next one, please. And then this is the one just above that. This is standing adjacent to the house. We put the sign right there, and that's looking back at the house where the addition is going to be. Again, you still will not see the addition there. And then the next one. This is coming from the direction of the other side, and again, the trees and the bushes are going to block it. So this addition also does not encroach upon the 10-foot no access and landscape easement as established by Cobb County. And there is a subdivision fence that is 11 feet from the proposed addition, and behind that fence is this 20-foot tall evergreen privacy hedge, which will remain inside the fence, obstructing the view of the addition from the Old Paper Mill Drive. On the outside of the above privacy fence from both directions, there are mature Bradford pears, plum, and maple trees, and an evergreen privacy bush completely obstructing the view from any drivers in the subdivision at large. So that really just explains to you the addition that we're installing here. If you would like to have any questions for Barbara, she's willing to.
Okay, very good. Barbara, you want to talk to us? Tell us anything else in addition?
I think Dale has covered all of the technicalities, but I just wanted to share with you why this is so important to us and what hardship it would cause of not having this variance approved. As Dale mentioned, we have a very young and big family, and this is the only way we have found to accommodate the need of our family, allowing for a bedroom for all of our children and for our living au pair and for our family visiting from abroad for extended period of time, so that everyone can be happy and flourish in this environment. We are very, we bought this home as our family home. We are very committed into invested in the neighborhood. This is a neighborhood that we want to make our own in the future, and we have absolutely no intention of causing hardship to our neighbors. So that's why we have chosen Atlanta Design and Build as a reputable company to help us accomplish our goal within a sympathetic ways. That's why we have chosen the exact same brick, and we really hope we'll be able to pursue our goal and make ourselves even more home in the neighborhood.
Okay, anything else?
That concludes. We appreciate your support.
Very good. Okay. The representative for your district is Mr. Bryant McDaniel, so I'm going to turn it over to Bryant for any comments and questions.
All right. First off, Dale and Barbara, thank you both for being here and for sharing that presentation. The one thing I would just mention here, I guess, is that the reason that you're presenting is because we did get that letter of opposition, as you know, from the neighbor Bradley Skidmore. He had initially raised several concerns. I spoke to him. Subsequently, Barbara's husband had a conversation with him. And I've heard since from Mr. Skidmore, he expressed that his biggest concern, just for everybody's benefit here, was that about a potential encroachment of the landscape easement. And once he was satisfied that that wouldn't happen, he indicated that he's okay with the proposed variance request. And as we know, the other immediate neighbors have given their approval as well. So a little background on that. So if we're ready, I'm happy to make a motion.
All right, any other comments, questions for any other board members? Just for the record, you have two sets of twins, is that correct?
Yeah.
How old are they?
Get ready for this. So I have 2 boys who just turned 3 years old, and I have 2 girls who will be 2 at the end of the month.
Okay. I would suggest that's a hardship in
In and of itself, yeah.
So we
If there ever
understand.
was one, right?
If there ever was.
But I do
Yeah.
want, that is a blessed hardship, and we do want to get that on the record. Okay. No comments. I'll entertain a motion then.
All right. Well, Mr. Chairman, then I would move to accept the variance application for case V18, subject to staff recommendations.
Very good.
I'll second.
So I got a motion, got a second. All those in favor signify by voting. All those opposed signify. We're going to approve this
With the
with a,
twins, not the addition.
Everything.
we're going to approve this with a 5-0 vote and wish you all the best happiness and luck, and God bless raising those children. Great
Thank you very much.
institution.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day. John, where am I? John, how many twins do you have?
None.
You don't have any? But I think the next time around, though, you're expecting twins. Is that correct?
I'll look for that.
Okay, sir. Go right ahead.
Variance case V19, Kurt Patterson requests a variance to waive the rear setback from required 40 feet to 30 feet, and to waive the side setback from required 12 feet to 10 feet adjacent to the southern property line in land lot 1098 of the 17th district. The property is located on the west side of Club Lane, south of Firestone Drive. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V19? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Would the applicant please come forward to be sworn in?
Okay, again, for the purpose of the record, I've got to get your name, please, first,
Kurt Patterson.
and the gentleman behind you.
Eric Daly.
Okay, there is no opposition, fellas, so in a brief period of time, just tell us what you'd like and what you want.
Okay, we have a little presentation. Let me
Good.
know when it's ready. So apparently what we're trying to do here is the existing deck of my home, we're actually trying to condense it. Sorry, am I walking away from? We're actually trying to reduce the size of the deck. So if you look right now at the way it's designed, there's a 14 by 11. I call it the hot tub deck. Previous owner had a hot tub. I do not. So we want to eliminate that so we won't protrude as far out towards the golf course. There's also a screen porch that's about 40% of the deck. That'll just give you an idea of what it looks like today. There's a shot from the golf course. You'll see the screen porch on the left, what I call the hot tub deck on the right, and then just a side view of the deck only because there was some early opposition for the neighbor. I just want to give you that perspective. So this will give you an idea of what we're trying to do now. Again, we're eliminating the hot tub deck. We're bringing the deck closer to the house, so I think it's approximately 22 square feet less. Yes. In space. We are going to have a roof over the entire deck. And then this will give you an idea. So my neighbor initially had some concerns that were unrelated to this project, but thought it was worth mentioning. You'll see the red arrow takes you to a point on the corner of our house. There was drainage that was put in by the previous owner. And she was a little concerned with the flow of the water. As I said, it's unrelated to this project, but we're going to take the lead recommendation by Bobby Keels and David Breeden, who was out to our house yesterday, to cut that pipe back several feet. It's really hard to see, but if you look at the far right underneath the dish, there you can barely see a speck of light blue by the top step. That's where the pipe protrudes. And so what we talked about is cutting that pipe back several feet closer to the stair line, if you would, so that the force of the water would not be as great towards the neighbor's house. Then why I believe, significantly smaller in size, which will allow us to have a little more green space in our backyard. The deck basically will be, for the most part, nestled in our house, so it will be hardly visible by our neighbors. The drainage of the new deck, because I know the neighbor initially asked if there were concerns with drainage, will flow out towards the back of the house, towards the golf course. That's the reason I had Tom Epperson, the president of Atlanta Country Club. I just want, even though I know he's not required to sign off, I showed him the designs and he blessed them. Again, my neighbor's concern isn't related to this project, but I'm going to follow the recommendation provided to cut the pipe back to ensure that she doesn't have a flow of water moving towards her house. That's all I had.
Anything you want to add, sir?
I think you said it well.
Okay, great. I think you've done a good presentation. It's back to this board for discussion. Again, you're very lucky today to have Mr. Bryant McDaniel. He's your representative, and it's his day to talk, so I'm going to turn it over to Mr. McDaniel.
Which, by the way, I just want to thank again for being so responsive to everyone that I engage with.
You bet. Happy to help, and I appreciate the presentation, and I should say I really appreciate you doing what you can to address the neighbors' concerns, because it is unrelated, but I really appreciate that. Beyond that, as Eric mentioned, the country club is okay with things, so I'm again ready to make a motion.
No other questions? We're ready for the motion.
All right, well then, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve case V19, subject to staff comments.
All right, need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, I've got a motion, a second, no other discussion. Call for the vote. Either way, let's go. Again, we're going to do a 5-0 vote to approve everything you want. Very good presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's it. Have a nice day.
Right.
Mr. Peterson, anything else to come before this board?
That is it, Chair.
Well, we have had a wonderful day, and we've all been blessed, and we want to wish our compatriot here, Mr. Skip Gunther, is on his way to California to La La Land. And he has to come back, and if he comes back all in one piece, we'll all be proud of him on that. Never mind, I'm not going there. Ladies and gentlemen, we just have one other course of business. We need to get approval on the minutes from the March 12th meeting and the February the 26th meeting. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, they be approved as presented.
All those in favor signify by voting yes, no, or indifferent. Okay, that's it, 5-0. Nothing else to come before this board. St. Patty's Day is coming up. Everybody, happy St. Patty's Day. And with that said, we'll see you next month.
Okay, so